What is up, everybody? I am Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com, host of the Sports Card Strategy Show. You can find information on the Sports Card Strategy Show at sportscardstrategy.com. And I am here today welcoming you to the first ever episode of the Basketball Card Strategy Show. Yes, that's right. I am a basketball guy. A little bit about me. I used to work for the Detroit Pistons. I was in their marketing and PR department, and one of the reasons why I got that job straight out of college is because growing up as a little kid, I was a stats geek. I was a basketball card collector since the time I was about 7 or 8 years old, and collected all the sets from back in the day, and basically fell in love with the game of basketball, played basketball all the way through high school, and in college decided I wanted to try and work in the NBA since I was never good enough to play in the NBA, and was able to basically geek my way into a job with the Detroit Pistons and essentially their sports information department, their PR department, writing about the team, following the stats, and working with the media and the players. And so I was able to parlay that experience into starting a fantasy sports website, and then bringing us to where we are today, have turned that fantasy sports website into a sports card investing site at nooffseason.com. And the Basketball Card Strategy Show is one of our niche shows on the nooffseason.com content network. And this is episode 1, where we are focusing strictly on basketball card investing. And today we're going to cover a number of topics. We're going to talk a little bit about some indicators that I've been observing that I believe will bring some of the 1980s and early 1990s quote-unquote vintage cards a rise in value. We're going to talk about the top 5 basketball cards to buy heading into the NBA playoffs, because now the 2022 NBA playoffs are ready to kick off. As of the recording of this episode, the play-in tournament is locked in, and so we're about to have the play-in games, and we're going to talk a little bit about the revised top 5 basketball players to buy at nooffseason.com. We're going to talk a little bit also about some Zion Williamson potential investments heading into the 2022-23 NBA season. We're going to talk about why I believe Darius Garland is the next Steph Curry. That is obviously a hot take, but it's one that I feel really, really good about. And then the best way to invest, I think, in the 2021-22 rookie class. So we'll talk about all those things. And first, I want to thank, obviously, a couple of our partners. MarketMoversApp.com by Sports Card Investor. You can go there and get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. And of course, I'd love it if you check out our sports card investment report at nooffseason.com, and you can save 20% on that report by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON at checkout. The report at nooffseason.com essentially does all of the research for you and tells you which cards to buy, as well as ranks the players to buy from all sports against each other, which is pretty cool. I think we're the only one that does that, to my knowledge. And let's jump into the Basketball Card Strategy Show. So the first thing I want to cover, like I said, is the indicators that I believe the 1980s and early 1990s superstars are going to be rising in value over the next year and steadily over the next 5 years. So there's some cultural indicators that I see happening here that's going to drive interest in some players from the 80s and early 90s. And then on top of those cultural indicators, I think that there are going to be some things that the NBA does to kind of facilitate this, and that the NBA has actually been working on quite publicly for the last couple years. So number one is a show called Winning Time on HBO. It follows the rise of the Los Angeles Lakers dynasty starting in the late 1970s. It obviously focuses on my favorite player of all time, Earvin Magic Johnson, but it also has guys like Kareem, Pat Riley, Michael Cooper. It's got a superstar acting cast, so you've got John C. Reilly, Jason Segel, Adrian Brody. You've even got Sally Field in there. And so I think that basically it's a compelling enough series that's going to transcend sports, and it's going to bring a lot of just basic TV watchers that are looking for something really, really good to watch into the fold. I think it's kind of a Ted Lasso, maybe even Game of Thrones type cultural experience that will transcend just the sports audience. And I think that because of that, you're going to see a lot of fringe people that don't necessarily collect sports cards or invest in sports cards start to get involved in some of the Lakers superstars, and maybe even, guys that are on the fringe of the Lakers dynasty, like the rivals, the Celtics with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and some of those players. And I think you could even see a trickle over effect into some cards for guys like Charles Barkley, Akeem Olajuwon, and such in that mix. Maybe even the Detroit Pistons, obviously a franchise near and dear to my heart, with Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, Dennis Rodman, of course, is a character that, who knows, maybe we will see in later seasons of that show. But I think that show will be on for quite some time. It's a compelling story. True story, and done very, very well on HBO. So I think that that's one cultural indicator. Another cultural indicator that you're about to see soon on Apple TV is a documentary, a 4-part docu-series called They Call Me Magic. And if you watch the trailer on YouTube, you'll see that it's Magic's story as a spin-off of the Lakers story is just as compelling as the Lakers story. Magic, his family and his story of business and how he played on the dream team with HIV, how he's essentially beaten HIV. That's going to end up being a story that I think is going to garner the Last Dance type of awareness. So The Last Dance was obviously something that helped the card value of the Bulls, the 1990s Bulls team. And I think that you're going to see They Call Me Magic do a similar thing for Magic Johnson cards, if you're buying the right cards, of course. So a lot of the NBA hoops, early 90s cards, not necessarily, but if you're looking at the 1980s tops or Fleer Magic cards, anything autographed and PSA DNA certified, by Magic, I think those things are going to go up in value. Now would be a great time to buy. Okay, now taking a step away from just specifically Magic and the Lakers, I think that a new podcast on The Ringer called The Icons Club by Jackie McMullen is going to also do some positive things to the card value of vintage basketball, and potentially even the 80s and early 90s, but definitely like vintage guys like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. Obviously she can't talk to Wilt Chamberlain on the show because he's passed away, but you've got guys like Bill Russell, Dr. J, Michael Jordan, even current guys like Steph Curry to talk about on that show. And I think I'm not going to get into that show specifically, but basically its goal is to introduce the current generation of NBA fans to the legendary players, give them access to their stories. And I think it's also at the same time going to remind people like myself, age 40 and above, of their favorite players and drive interest in, I think, Google and eBay searches for their cards. So I think that you're going to have like a newer audience for those cards in the younger generation. And then I think you're going to have a renewed interest in cards of the legends, people mentioned in the Icons Club podcast, in my age demographic, 40 and above. Another just kind of hot take for me, reasons why I think that even guys like, Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, if you want to go that deep, could see a rise in their card value. Early 90s guys, Shaquille O'Neal, I think, could be a huge beneficiary of what I'm about to, tell you. And this comes from me being close to the NBA business side of things for, 7 or 8 years. I think that the NBA, they've done some things already with like the 75th anniversary team, all 75 team, highlighting that. I think they're going to continue to highlight that. But I think one thing that you're going to see happen in front of the younger generation of NBA fans is sort of a rebranding of the NBA All-Star Game and All-Star Weekend. I think that one thing they're going to do is, this is just total theory of mine and a hunch. I don't have any inside sources, but my gut feeling is that they're going to lose the team LeBron versus team Giannis, or the team Steph versus team, Embiid or whatever. They're going to stop doing that because I think a few reasons. First of all, we're about to be in the post-LeBron era at some point over the next 3 to 5 years. And it's becoming increasingly clear that there are no clear number 1 or number 2 best players in the league. And you've even got, a lot of other podcasts out there talking about how there are about 15 or 20 guys that are basically in the top 5, right? So there's no real top 5, no real top 10. So there's definitely not a top 1 or a top 2. So I just don't think that the NBA is going to be able to have team Giannis versus team Steph, right? So, I think you'll have other guys like, whether it's Luka or whether it's Devin Booker, just kind of be like, well, what about me? And then you'll have, Darius Garland eventually be like, well, what about me? Stuff like that. So I think what you're about to see is things like Team Magic versus Team Larry, right? Or Team Michael versus Team Charles. I think you could even see like Team Dirk versus Team Garnett. Or Team Wade versus Team Shaq. I think you'll start to see those things. And because of that, you'll have a renewed interest in those players. You'll have more media coverage around those personalities. It would even be cool if you see like a Team Isaiah versus, I don't know, Team Clyde Drexler or something like that. I think that is going to do the same things that I've been talking about with these shows. It's going to introduce the new generation of fans to these icons, and it's also going to renew the interest in the older fans like myself and people older than me in their favorite guys and get them back into following the NBA. So I think you're less likely to see like a Team Luka versus Team LaMelo, and I actually think you're more likely to see, like I said, something like a Team Dominique versus Team Dr. J or something like that. Because you've had guys like Dr. J and Kenny Smith judging the slam dunk contest. I think the next logical thing is to allow them to be the captains of the all-star teams and pick the players. I think, guys like Kevin Durant and James Harden, those guys, they don't have interest in, selecting the all-stars. And I mean, it's just kind of awkward in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, or shoot me a note to my email, paul@nooffseason.com. I'd love to hear from you. But, I think that these indicators are all pretty strong indicators that could rise the interest of, that era of basketball cards. I think it's no one thing that's going to do it. But I think that this combination of factors, combined with the fact that it's just harder and harder to predict who is going to win games and who is going to win the championship, to then see a large spike in card value across the board to make money on sports card investing, I think that you'll see people go back to vintage. So speaking of, how to make money investing in sports cards, basketball cards specifically, what drives card price is none other than winning playoff games, and not only winning playoff games, but dropping 40, 50 points in a playoff game. And so we are in the process of re-ranking our sports card investment report at nooffseason.com. And it's going to be focused around basketball. So no better place to bring this content than the Basketball Card Strategy Show episode 1 here. So as we're recording this, we have the play-in tournament locked in. So we don't know who the top 8 seeds are in each conference, but we do know the top 10. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm advising sports card investors and basketball card investors to essentially ignore some of the guys that are on the sports card investment report that are in the play-in right now, and let the play-in play out before you actually buy more of their cards if you already own them. If you own them, I would say hold, and guys like Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Darius Garland, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, I think DeJounte Murray, Anthony Edwards, guys like that are in the play-in, I would encourage you to hold them and not buy more of them. I think that it's just too risky to essentially buy right now, being that it's April, not knowing if these guys are going to have a chance to essentially do the one thing that you need to do to see a huge spike in card prices over the next couple months, which is essentially make it as far as you possibly can in the NBA playoffs and on the big stage put up huge games. So I think there's players to target, there's cards to target, and then there's things that you need to be prepared for, essentially, as a sports card investor to actually flip and make money this time of year. So we're going to talk about, from a flipping standpoint, who are the top 5 guys to buy right now. And number 1 on our list is still going to be Steph Curry. So Steph Curry has been number 1 on the sports card investment report since we launched it back in January of 2022, and he's still number 1 here in April. And the reason he's been number 1 and is going to still be number 1 is because Golden State Warriors have locked up the 3 seed in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. So he will be facing Nikola Jokic, and he should have a healthy Golden State Warriors team, hopefully including himself with his ankle injury. But I think Steph, Draymond, Clay, and of course, guys like Kuminga coming off the bench should be very, very hard to beat in the playoffs. I think that they should get by the Denver Nuggets, and then you'll see them against probably the Phoenix Suns in the second round, which is going to be crazy to think that could have been the Western Conference finals, and it's going to be the second round. But Steph has just as good chance as anyone to win an NBA title this year. And because of the fact that he's been injured and off the radar, and the Warriors have been so putrid since the All-Star break, it's a buy low moment for Steph Curry right now. So we're going to take you over to Market Movers data here. And I just, I did some research on a lot of Steph cards, but for the sake of time, I'm going to look at this particular one, his 2009 Upper Deck Base PSA 10. And you can see the trend line here on the PSA 10 is that it's gone down considerably in pricing, in the month of March, and considerably since the month of January, where back in January, this card, according to the Sports Card Investment Report, was over $1,000, and now it's down to $786.58 in an auction just last week on April 8th. So it's a good time to buy Steph Curry cards. I would encourage you to, realize that you should go higher rather than lower. Get some more high-end cards, and you can check out the Sports Card Investment Report at nooffseason.com. You can upgrade to our premium package to see all the cards to buy. And of course, save 20% doing that by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, at checkout. Buying the right cards is super important, because even if Steph doesn't win, he still is very, very likely to be a top 5 player of all time. He still is very likely to have some significant career moments. I call them indicators. Essentially, indicators are markers. Indicators and markers are times when he might reach a significant career milestone, a significant individual performance, retire, make the Hall of Fame, all of that stuff. So Steph Curry is definitely number 1 on our list. Number 2 on our list is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is only 26 years old and has some really, really reasonably priced rookie autos and reasonably priced beautiful non-rookie autos as well. And I'm not going to get into all of the cards, but I'm going to give you a couple examples of where I think Giannis is a great buy. He's number 2 on our sports card investment report at nooffseason.com. Again, upgrade to see all the cards to buy. Upgrade to the premium membership there at nooffseason.com and save 20% using the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase. But let's just take a look at Giannis's 2013 Prism Auto PSA 10. I mean, this thing was going for $12,000 back in preseason NBA time, and now it's less than $7,500 as of March 30th in PSA 10. That is an extremely reasonable high-end Giannis card to buy right now, knowing that the Bucks, like the Warriors, are the 3 seed, so they have no easy road to the NBA Finals, but they are the defending champion. They face a Chicago Bulls team in the first round that they should beat, and then they are likely to play the Miami Heat potentially in the second round, a team who I think they match up well against. The Heat are going to be tough to beat, but I mean, every other team that they could play, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Nets, are just as hard as the Heat. So I think the Eastern Conference is completely wide open, and my money's on the Bucks. My money's on Giannis, and Giannis is number 2 on my list. Another great Giannis card to invest in. By the time that you listen to this show, this card could be gone, but it's from the Slab Stocks daily newsletter. I like to check out the Slab Stocks daily newsletter because they have some great links to eBay auctions that are actually reasonably priced high-end cards. They also have a budget corner, which I like, but I like to look at the high-end stuff just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And, this Giannis card has 15 hours left. It's probably going to go for less than $7,500. It is a rookie auto BGS 9 Panini Court Kings and BGS 9 card 10 auto. So solid card there. Number 3 on the list, Devin Booker. There's no, real science to this other than the fact that the Suns are dominating. They have dominated this year. There's no reason to think that they won't win the NBA championship either. I know I talked about Steph Curry, but, and there can only be one winner. But, Devin Booker is a great player to put your money on if you're not going to put your money on Steph. He's number 3 on our sports card investment report, and I think that he's one of the few players that you could actually mess around with some low-end stuff and make a lot of money, because a lot of his low-end stuff is dirt cheap, but even his high-end stuff is very reasonable. I really, really like Devin Booker, and I think that, a Devin Booker, Prism Silver PSA 10 is reasonably priced right now. I think that, Devin Booker autos are reasonably priced right now. I think everything Devin Booker is worth investing in. But again, to get all of my insights, check out nooffseason.com. Devin Booker's number 3. Number 4, we're moving him up. It's time to move up Luka. Luka has been outranked by guys like Darius Garland in our sports card investment report, and by LaMelo Ball, I think, but and Trae Young. But because I said what I said earlier about just kind of holding off on acquiring more Garland, more Trae Young, and more LaMelo Ball right now, I do love those guys for the long term. But I think Luka has some amazing rookie autos that are available right now. According to the sports card investment report, you can get Luka Contenders rookie autos in BGS 9.5, likely for under 10K, maybe even 7,500. I'd go after some serious high-end Luka stuff if I were you right now, because I think he's already had his moments in sports card investing, and he's come down in terms of his base PSA 10 stuff, but he's on the precipice of being like a fixture in the, I think, Western Conference, deep into the Western Conference playoffs, quarterfinals, semifinals, Western Conference finals. I see him being like no worse than like the Karl Malone and at best like the Hakeem Olajuwon, where he ends up winning a couple titles. by himself, essentially, in Dallas with a decent but not superstar supporting cast, and I think that does a huge amount to his projected card value. So I love Luka at number 4. And then number 5, this is a tough decision for me. I have not traditionally been a Jason Tatum guy, but I think it is time to acknowledge the fact, with the Celtics sewing up the number 2 seed in the East, that it is time to safely put your money into Jason Tatum cards. Basically, the thing that I like about Tatum is I don't even think it takes the Celtics winning a series for his cards to rise in value. I think that that Jason Tatum is a guy that will put up 50, like guaranteed, in a playoff game. And the Celtics, they might lose to the Nets or the Cavs, honestly, in the first round. I would not be surprised if they lose in the first round, but I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series, and I think in one or more of those Celtics wins and even losses, Jason Tatum can put up 40 or 50 points. He could average 35 or 40 points easily in a playoff series, and I think that would make his card value go nuts. So Jason Tatum, cards to buy. Check him out at nooffseason.com, but definitely look for more of his high-end stuff, his rare stuff. I think that you can find some Jason Tatum, like this card, potentially a jersey auto patch, National Treasures. This is a rookie patch auto, true gem from BGS, on-card auto out of 99, and it's under 12 hours, under 13 hours from now, rather. It might be gone by the time, I might buy this by the time you actually listen to this show. This is a card that's in my wheelhouse, potentially. I'm not a huge Jason Tatum guy, though, so I'd rather put my money into Giannis. But in terms of just trying to flip something, I mean, I could see this card doubling, tripling in value easily after a Tatum breakout performance in the playoffs. So he's jumping Ja Morant, which is interesting. Memphis is the 2 seed in the West, and I've loved Memphis. I've loved Ja. I've had him in my top 5 at nooffseason.com all season. I think, though, Ja is he's a step ahead, definitely, of Trey, LaMelo, Garland, and the play-in group. But I think that the reason why I just don't think Ja necessarily is a buy right now is because I just would like to see what Memphis does in the playoffs. I think that the narrative, I'm concerned with the narrative. The narrative could be that if Memphis loses in the first round, they're going to face either the Timberwolves or the Clippers. And they could face the Clippers, who have Paul George back and may have Kawhi back. And I'm concerned that the narrative could be that this season is a failure for Memphis. I don't know that the card investing community follows the details of the NBA. And so because of that, I think that there could be a dip in Ja's value this offseason, and that could be a better time to buy Ja. And that's literally the only reason why Ja is not in my top 5 right now, but he's very, very, very close. And so I did want to acknowledge that. All right, so next thing I want to talk about is Zion. Zion Williamson obviously has not played a game, did not play a game in the 2021-2022 regular season. There's a small chance that he could make a playoff appearance if somehow New Orleans makes it in as the 8 seed. And that would be interesting to see see him play against the Phoenix Suns at all in that series. But even if he doesn't, the fact of the matter is that when he does come back, he is going to be someone whose card value immediately spikes and likely continues to climb, because I just don't see a world, and this is another hot take, where Zion doesn't play ever again. I just don't see like this apocalyptic world for Zion. I see where he comes back and is a top 10 player in the NBA like throughout his career. And even if he only plays, 5 or 6 seasons, I see him as being like an all NBA guy. I think it's more likely that he plays 5 or 6 seasons as an all NBA guy than he either, plays 10 seasons as an average guy or is just injury plagued throughout his career and is more of a Greg Oden. So I actually am okay with you guys putting your money into Zion. I wouldn't buy any of his base stuff. What I'm actually targeting, what I'm encouraging you to target with Zion is like in the $5K to $7,500 range. There are some banger cards that under normal circumstances would be like 15,000, $25,000, $35,000 cards, but because Zion is where he is right now, they're, I believe, underpriced, and there's really no way to tell this because he is where he is right now. Like we don't know what these cards would be if he was healthy, but I can assume they would be much, much higher. You've got like a rookie ticket auto PSA 8 Contenders Green Shimmer, which is a flagship card. I mean, it's a card everybody would want if Zion were healthy and averaging like 30 a game like he was last year. This is $6,500. Buy it now. There's interest in it. There's 9 watchers, so it's not just me. Another card is the classic Panini Contenders Optic auto, but this happens to be a red wave, and it's priced at basically $7,000 or best offer, which I believe because it's OBO that you could get this for around $5,000. That's just my hypothesis. So if that's in your wheelhouse, I would consider making an offer on this card. I think this is a card that like immediately could be $15,000 when Zion comes back and starts playing again, starts playing well. Just the hype of him coming back could go up 20%. Another one that's already slabbed, BGS 9510, is a Panini Prism Rookie Auto Silver. So this isn't as high end of a card as the Contenders Optic short prints that I just talked about. But because it's a basically the flagship Prism brand and it's a silver auto and it's gem mint, it's a great buy. I mean, less than $7,000 for this, I think, is a steal. And I think that you could see this double very easily next season. Now, I don't normally do college autos, but this one caught my eye. It's $7,000 or best offer, and it's a dual auto, Anthony Edwards and Zion, and it's numbered to 10, and it's a BGS 9. So it's mint, but it's not gem mint. Because it's 2 back-to-back number 1 overall picks, I think it's pretty sweet. And it's, sticker autos make it not as desirable. So I'd be careful overpaying for this one. But I do think it's a rare card that years from now could be something that someone pays quite a bit for. It's $7,000 or best offer. I think this one is maybe a $5,000 card. So if you could get it for that, if you could make an offer for that and negotiate, I think it's a great play. Another silver auto for $7,000, BGS, a Prism Silver auto, BGS 9510. So a couple of those. Here's a National Treasures rookie patch auto out of 25. To think that this is like, you could get it for less than $7,500 if you place a bid. Now, if there's 6 days left in this auction, so this is something that you all will have a chance to get because this show is going to come out shortly after this recording. The buy it now price is under $12,000. So it's not going to go for over $12,000. So the fact that you could bid on this and get it for maybe $8,500, and it's an NT patch auto out of 25 Zion, and you can still have it graded, I think there's a lot of room for this card to have profit margin. Would love your thoughts on all of this. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Join the Facebook group by going to sportscardstrategy.com and click the link to join the Facebook group. And let me know what you thought about this content. Of course, you can leave a review on Apple as well. Here's another one. This is approximately $7,500 US. Listed because I'm in Europe at an Australian dollars at 10,000, but it's approximately 7,500 US, or you can make an offer. So again, I think this could be a steal. This could be maybe a $6,500 card. It's numbered out of 75, Contenders rookie playoff ticket. Numbered, like I said, out of 75, but it's a true gem BGS 9510. So centering 9.5, edges 9.5, surface 9.5, corners 9. So it's not likely to cross over to PSA as a 10 or to SGC as a 10. So I would keep it as is, but I do think that this is one that could be, it could double in price. I mean, I know I keep saying that without any real data to prove it, but I do think that when you're looking at a player like Zion, I do think now could be the time to invest in some of his high-end cards, just because he's a guy that is just going to have so many more rumors and speculation about him, like where he could end up in the future if he goes to a bigger market, if everyone thinks he's going to go to New York. I mean, there's just so many markers and indicators, and even the littlest thing is going to move the needle on him. And I think that's what you got to look at that as a sports card investor and as a basketball card investor specifically. You got to look at like again, a Jason Tatum. All it takes is like a 50-point game. And I know he's more than capable of doing it. Like, he's going to do it. All it takes is Zion, like, getting back on the court in an NBA game, and not getting re-injured, which is like actually pretty good odds that happens at some point in the next year. So Zion, Zion cards I think are great. And I am going to segue over to another guy that another hot take, a guy that I think now is probably the only time to hold off on buying his cards. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think there's ever a bad time to buy this guy's cards, because I think he's only going up and up. And I think that there's a good chance that he gets into the playoffs as the 7 or 8 seed, and that is Darius Garland. And the reason why I think Darius Garland is the next Steph Curry is because Steph Curry thinks Darius Garland is the next Steph Curry. And that's actually saying a lot. Steph Curry did, in so many words, say that to some of the media members last offseason, I believe, and Darius Garland has broken out. He was an all-star this year. He's played through injury. He's got a Steph Curry-type game, true point guard that can score. He's putting up double-digit assists consistently, low turnovers. He's in a sneaky market there in Cleveland with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. They got an all-star trio already right there, future all-star trio very, very easily. And then, a really strong bench and supporting cast that if that team can stay healthy, they are far better than a play-in team in the future. I think they're a favorite to win the East over the next several years. So I know that's a hot take, but Darius Garland is, go get Darius Garland cards. Now, the tricky part about investing in Darius Garland is he did not have Panini. He does not have Panini autos. So to get like a true high-end Darius Garland card, you're looking at getting an Upper Deck Goodwin Champions rookie auto or an Upper Deck Goodwin Champions auto, or like an insert. And he's not on many inserts. So like rookie inserts, he's got an On the Horizon rookie insert, which is a Panini Rewards only. He's got this Goodwin Champions rookie auto. He's got a bunch of Goodwin Champions Upper Deck autos. So you got to really dig deep. That's part of what makes Darius Garland a good investment, though. And we do a nice job at nooffseason.com digging into Darius Garland high-end cards, because like I said, there's just it's harder to find. So like again, an SGC 1010, there's some PSA 10s. Here's an HGC 10 of that card. And again, it's very affordable. They're all under $1,500. This one here is even under $900 for this SGC 1010. So I think that Garland is a great investment right now, low pop. on all of his cards. I would avoid any of his base stuff. I'd go only high end. And I'd get him, he's a guy that like you can corner the market on pretty easily. So like here's a $750 BGS 9510 Darius Garland Goodwin Champions rookie auto. So there's just not many of them. Like you can literally spend less than $3,000 and almost buy all of the gem mint Darius Garland rookie autos. Here's some raw for $350, different variations. Some of them say 2020, some of them say 2019. Everyone's going to try to sell you on the fact that it was his rookie auto, and that's fine. Just Darius Garland autos are just not easy to find. You can get them obviously for a low price, but so that's kind of the tricky part / opportunity. There's some potential arbitrage with the guy that I'm calling the next Steph Curry. Let me know if you think I'm crazy in the comments below, or like I said, join the Facebook group to comment on Darius Garland by going to sportscardstrategy.com and then click the link to join the Facebook group. So I'm going to leave you with a parting shot on episode 1 of the basketball card strategy show. The best way to invest in the 2021-22 rookie class. I'm on the record. If you check out the YouTube channel at nooffseason.com, nooffseason.com, or the YouTube channel direct link is youtube.com/Paul Hickey. The channel is called Sports Card Strategy. And I'm on record over and over and over again in like almost every episode of every show as how high I am on the 2021-22 rookie class. And I think right now the best way to invest is to buy sealed wax because the class is so strong and the singles are so expensive. So buying sealed wax, I think, is the most prudent play because you can get like the contenders hobby boxes for less than $700. And, you got a good chance of getting some rookie ticket autos in there. Panini Origins singles, I think, are underpriced. So if you got a favorite guy, check out their Panini Origins singles. I think some of the Don Russ stuff might be overpriced because Prism isn't out yet, and T isn't out yet, and Mac, there's all the high-end releases. The only real high-end release that's out is Contenders, but you've got Don Russ Elite has some nice stuff with the Pen Pals. Hoops has come down a little bit on their rookie autos. So, you can buy singles of your favorite guys, but I do think that the best way to invest is to buy like boxes of Panini Contenders in the pro uniforms. I think it's super weird that Prism draft picks came out the same week as Contenders in pro uniforms. I would avoid the Prism draft pick stuff right now because, just wait until regular Prism comes out. But I do think that class is worth investing in big time. And the way that I would do it this year is to buy the wax. And then next year, when the prices of the singles have sort of leveled out, I think taking a look at, who the best short-term prospects are to make it deep into the playoffs, invest in their singles. So, and then more on the basketball card strategy show coming up in future episodes. We're going to talk about some of the things that Commissioner Adam Silver is going to do to increase the interest level in star players playing in regular season games that actually mean something, and what that will do to the basketball card market. And I believe it will do positive things. So we're going to dig into that in future episodes. Thanks for checking out episode 1 of the Basketball Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey with nooffseason.com. Really, really excited to be bringing you this niche content on nooffseason.com, Sports Card Content Network. Everybody, check us out on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy, on YouTube at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. On the Facebook group, go to sportscardstrategy.com and click on the link to join the Facebook group. And please support me and the rest of the team by going to nooffseason.com and checking out all of our sports card rankings for all sports, as well as the top 100 sports card investment report. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.